now.
Yeah.
So.
We can't tell the ones about every time Lily and I called Alli to be like, did we get STDs?
Definitely can't tell that.
I don't know. That's amazing.
Allie's like the guru of sexual reproduction.
That is true.
Okay.
So basically, we have to pretend we don't know you.
All right, here we are at the Friday Night Movie Podcast, and this is a big deal episode because this is the first time in a while when you can hear the laughter already. All three of the siblings.
You sound really excited. It's a really big deal.
All three siblings
The emotion in your voice.
are together in the same place, and then with us we have a special guest. We have the first human to, I think, penetrate the three sibling group and really join the group full time, aside from like our friends growing up.
The inner circle.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I happen to be very fortunate in that I married her. This is my wife, Allison.
Hi.
What?
That's true. You did say what? Not, you said what human. And you often do this. You make these very specific characterizations of people.
Has there been like an animal, a snack, something else?
Dutchie? Are you going to leave Dutchie out?
Okay.
Well, to be fair,
Dutchie makes an appearance almost in every episode now.
to be fair, she wasn't really like the beloved family dog. She was just the family dog.
She was Dad's best friend.
friend.
The actual quote from her funeral.
Oh,
But Alli was there for the funeral. Alli's been through. So Alli, my wife, is here. She has been through a lot with this family. In fact, we are a day away from at the 13th anniversary of our first date. So it's kind of a cool.
Do you want to tell the story about the silver dollar earrings?
Oh yeah, Alli. I don't like dangly earrings, and Alli. The first thing I saw on our first date were these like huge, big, like silver dollar dangly earrings, and I was like, huh, "All right, get it together." This seems cool. And then when
True love. That's true love.
and then when during the date, Alli quoted Tom Petty's "American Girl," I was like, pretty cool.
Wow, that's such a dated reference now. It really is 13 years
Too
ago.
soon. He died.
No,
Jeez.
I mean,
But that song's from the
drop
70s.
that on a date back like 13 years ago, I feel like, wow, it was even dated then.
There you go. Well, you are older then.
Alli, stop saying you don't care that he died. That's
I
what basically what I say. It's fine. It's fine.
That's 2 Tom Petty references in 2 shows.
deep.
should we rename the podcast?
The Tom Petty tribute show.
Too soon?
Too soon. Too soon.
I have a question. Do I also have to eat the microphone?
No,
I was
feel like
gonna-
you guys are
No, I'm not
jockeying.
eating.
Can you actually move over so I can be on the short side with you?
No, it's like clipped 105 times. I have to
What does that mean?
Lower the gain.
lower the gain just a little bit. All right.
I think it's,
Am I making it higher?
I think lower is that way.
Okay. I can't tell because it's on the other side of the mic. Why couldn't
That would be lower.
Okay. No, that's too low. All right. Okay. So here we are at the Friday Night Movie Podcast. We have Lily, Becky, and I in the same place. And then we have Alli, who has been with us for 13 years minus a day, because this is almost the 13th anniversary of our first date. My wife is here. And really, second to our mother and me, or third, I guess, is probably the person who takes the most crap from you guys in the family. The most fun, joyfully made fun of.
Out of love.
Yeah,
Right, and
no, that's how you know
and
you're
what I
one
was
of the
telling you,
siblings.
and what I was saying before is that Alli, my favorite thing about Alli is that she can dish it as much as she can take it. And like she dishes out like she was actually our sibling, which does make it kind of gross because she's your wife. However,
because I look like you guys.
and Alli and I look more alike than me and Becky, or you and Becky,
Although
Shy and Becky.
my iPhone would beg to differ.
Although, yeah, I was able to open the sidebar with Becky's iPhone 10. You can do facial recognition, right? So nobody can open it but her face, except I opened it with my face the other day, and Becky looked at me and she goes, "Oh my God, how fat are my cheeks?" And I literally turned to her and I was like, "Bitch, you mean how skinny did my cheeks get?" And she's like, "No, that's not what I meant. My face is so round." It was hilarious. But I was able to unlock her phone
That's
with
amazing.
my face.
So here we are, Lily. I'll go around and do what we normally do. Lily, how are you?
I am basking in joy, which is basically what you told me I should say.
Well, no, you wanted to
basking
say
in joy.
quelling, which is
But
the
it's
actual
not.
term.
No, it's not the real term. Like I'm gonna look. I'll search in the American English dictionary for what I'm trying to say, because there's a word in Spanish that describes it perfectly. But I will just say that I'm basking in joy that our children are together. We're together. Just jokes, constant jokes. This is super fun.
The kids are pretty hilarious
Yeah.
together.
Awesome.
And Becky, how are you doing?
I'm drunk.
On no sleep.
Oh no, I'm sleep deprived. I'm so sleep deprived. It's basically like my body thinks it's drunk because that's how sleep deprived I am.
It's like the episode of Life in Pieces we watched yesterday.
Yes.
I was going to say the Sex and the City when she's like, I'm drunk. I'm drunk in Vogue. Like that one where she gets drunk in the closet.
On not, like no alcohol.
Yes, because she weighs 10 pounds.
Yeah, that's how I am right now.
Cool. And Alli, welcome.
Thank you. I'm
How
very
are
happy
you?
to be here.
All right, finally.
I've heard many a podcast being recorded in the basement. I've watched our children while many a podcast were recorded.
You are the famed woman who opens the laundry room.
What do you say?
Look, I can't help it if sometimes laundry needs to be done on podcast day.
It's a little bit of a Lucy situation. Like I Love Lucy, like I want to be
Mm-hmm.
in the show, so I'm just like sneaking out of the laundry room.
I pop out of the dryer.
Well, now you are here, and we are gathered in Philadelphia. It's the week before Passover. Had a lovely day. We're going to do, one of our favorite family shows is The Goldbergs, and as loyal members of the Gold Nerd family, we were going to go and seek out Donkey's Place, the cheesesteak place that has the circular Kaiser roll cheesesteaks that were featured in a recent episode of The Goldbergs. And I was all excited, and we were planning that we were going to live stream it and take videos and pictures, and I tweeted out to Gold Nerds and to Wendy MC Fansite, which is Ashley, and to Adam F. Goldberg, and to Donkey's Place and said, we're going to Donkey's Place. And then within a few minutes, Donkey's Place, God bless them, they wrote back and said,
Thank God, had we schlepped our whole group there,
To
nobody
Camden.
would
There,
have
I
talked
would
to
have
ever
been
again.
very hungry.
they tweeted back and said, no, we are not open on Saturdays. So we're going to postpone the Donkey's Place visit and have the Kaiser roll cheesesteak next Friday, the day before Passover begins. And it will be our pre-Passover cheesesteak. Now, what's funny is his mom keeps hawking us throughout, complaining that we're going to a place that isn't her favorite cheesesteak place. So we are living in a real-life version of the episode of The Goldbergs.
She does not stop talking about I just.
And I don't
walked
think
home.
she's seen the episode. She's just
I don't
acting
think
like Murray.
She hasn't seen the episode, and we were. I was walking home with her. You guys were ahead, and she literally goes, "Why does your brother have to be so stubborn?" And I was like, "What are you talking about?" She goes, "He just makes these statements." And I was like, "What are you talking about?" She goes, "Well, I just don't understand why we can't go to D'Alessandro's. I don't get it." And I was like, have you seen the episode? And she was like, no. I was like, I think he wants to do it just to like try something new for the episode. She goes, I don't see the reason. If you're gonna get in the car, I don't see the reason. And I
Because
was
once you're going to
cracking
get in the car to go get a cheesesteak, you
She
should be
thinks
going to
good
D'Alessandro's.
that's like it was like sacrilegious to her.
Anyway, so we're living a real life version of the Goldbergs here. Alli, with Alli here,
Yes.
we need to reflect. When we have a guest, we talk about their careers and we interview them about things that are affected them and influenced them and about their work. And we're actually not going to talk about your
Anything
current
that's
career
important.
because
Yes.
one of our
Perfect.
mottos on
Let's
this
not.
podcast is nothing timely or important.
Perfect.
Nothing newsworthy or important. But before your current career, in which you do very important things to help save the world for our children,
It's true.
but before your current career, you had a career as a child model.
It was brief but glamorous.
And we are going to post a picture of this
Oh,
in
wow.
tandem with the promotion for this episode.
Alli,
That's
you
just-
released-
Would you agree to that?
Alli, you released
You
this
brought it
photo
on
into the
yourself.
public.
That's fair.
You've brought this on
Yeah,
yourself.
you're asking us to do it,
The
basically.
best thing about that photo, without even telling y'all what's in it, is the number of people from my childhood who are like, I remember that picture from your house. It wasn't framed anywhere, but they remember.
So
this
where would
remarkable
Because
moment.
it was seared into
Yeah,
their
you
brains.
can't unsee that.
Al, would you like to just tell us a little bit of background on your child modeling career?
Yeah.
And then we'll flash forward to the current story as to what happened when you posted that picture.
Postscript.
So how we stumbled upon this picture, by the way, is that we are moving out of our house to renovate it, and has been a huge march down memory lane finding all sorts of old stuff. And most of the old stuff, frankly, is mine, including drawings dating back to when I was like 4 years old.
Which is hilarious because, like, clearly, I mean, I've always known you love to draw. You've always, like, sketched and drawn, but that was amazing where you put an arrow saying tail to show your dinosaur's tail.
Well, there's a picture I drew of Mom in her old house coat, that, like, maroon and black house coat, yelling at me, which is funny because I would not associate Mom yelling at me, but in this particular...
Mom throwing a bottle of
Ketchup
at
at
the wall.
Ketchup.
Yeah.
The three of us.
We deserved it. Let's be clear.
Oh, yeah.
We
It
had
takes so much to push Mom to the edge.
Yeah.
And the worst is that when you do push her to the edge, you just sit there cackling and being like giggling quietly to yourself, being like, we did it.
Quietly.
Well, like, you know, you don't want to like overdo it with her. And then she looks at you and you're just like, you're so cute when you're mad. And she gets so mad. It's the best.
Poor woman.
Yeah.
So among the things we found was the picture of you all made up in a child modeling situation.
Had you ever seen it?
I'd seen it once before.
Oh.
Amazingly, Orly had not seen it. That's what's remarkable. My best friend since kindergarten, well, since I've known since kindergarten and best friend since 8th grade, had never seen it. She felt like her whole life was a lie after having seen the picture.
I understand
So
that.
how did you get into child modeling?
You know, like many great career moves, I just stumbled backwards into that, you know, fortuitous event. My mom, when we were little, would go in downtown Albany to a hair salon called Bongos, which I believe was the height of fashion in Albany at the time.
I can't picture your mom ever going to a place called Bongos.
Bongos called Bongos.
Bongos.
And the logo was a monkey playing the bongos with 2 palm trees, right?
That's
Basically,
exactly. It's like
Yeah.
Becky.
essentially.
That's just how I meant.
Yes,
Okay.
so you're not far off. And she used to go there, and I don't know the ins and outs of how it happened, but they decided they were going to do like a print ad campaign and somehow recruited me to be the face of an adult hair salon ad, like as like a 6-year-old. I don't know how old I was, 6, 7. I have no
Look
idea.
at this picture while we talk.
I mean, I feel
so
like
good.
yeah, it really.
I hope
defies
this has to
description.
already be on the internet.
No,
while people
this
are
will be
listening
when we drop
right.
the episode. This will be
people
the
need
promotional
to be
picture.
looking at this picture.
Yeah,
while
so
you're
it'll
talking
be something like, find out the story behind this picture.
If I remember,
You
oh
got
yeah,
your
no, I was
nails,
right.
And you got your nails done.
No,
for
I
it.
was gonna say I remember that I wore my pink ballet leotard, and so that was my
Those
clothing
are
choice.
fake nails.
Oh yes. I mean, for those who are not seeing the picture now, my hair is roughly the size of something from like Bon Jovi's like band. Like it's ginormous. There are bangs. There is so much eyeliner and eyeshadow that it can't even properly be described. Blood red lips on a 6-year-old. And like
hell of a amount of blush.
Yeah,
Like-
it's like pre-contouring like amounts of blush. It's
I
unbelievable.
think what really gets me though is the pose and the look. Like you got attitude.
I'm bringing it.
Did anybody? Do you remember anybody directing you? Look matter.
I have
Look
no
left.
recollection of the actual
like,
photo
what were they
shoot.
telling you?
You don't remember the
No.
actual? No.
I remember this picture, and I remember the print black and white paper ad that we cut out of the newspaper and stuck in my scrapbook as a child.
Wow.
Yeah.
So flash forward to now, as we were going through the stuff in the attic, we were posting stuff here and there.
It's
and
a
Alli
gift to the internet.
Alli posted this picture to Facebook. And many nostalgic comments, people from Albany who were like, oh my God, you were that person? This was like the most famous ad in Albany because we're from Albany. No, I'm laughing.
Nobody said that.
Nobody said
There
that.
were a lot of people who didn't know about this photo, flipped out.
Right. But
And
then Lily's mother-in-law.
Who I guess is Facebook friends with Alli.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
And
who-
is a hairstylist.
She's a hairdresser
even better.
and has 3 hairdressers. Like she has 3 salons where she lives in Spain, so she's Spanish.
So she weighed in Spanish, but Alli couldn't understand it. So could you
Well,
maybe...
no, I kind of did. I read it in Spanish and was like, I think I know what this is saying, but let me just click on see translation to make sure I've got this right. And I was like, she just keeps saying, I'm so sorry for these poor girls.
Yeah, that's basically what she said. She would have seen the photo totally passed on Alli's caption because she doesn't read English, doesn't understand English. So would not have even paid attention to anything that Alli wrote
So
about
she
the
felt
girl.
like Alli was doing like a campaign for abused children?
I think so, yeah. So she assumed that Alli was putting up a photo of like one of these pageant girls that is like you know.
Life got ruined?
Yeah, I guess, or
Jean
like
Benet.
right, or maybe like a child that was forced to do, I don't know, porn. I don't know. This photo is like a lot. So I guess maybe you should cut that out. I guess you're going to cut that out. I don't know.
Don't
Give me
worry
a look. I feel like the Sarah Silverman of this group. I don't care.
Weird and dark. I'm sorry. I was watching like a video on Instagram. All of a sudden, things got weird.
You could just with the marker, whatever you do. Anyways, so she was like,
Clean it up, Shai.
yeah, just leave
Fix
it.
it in post.
Fix it in
post.
So anyway, so she was looking at, obviously the photo felt like sad for this child. I don't understand why she wouldn't have been able to tell that this is clearly something from the 80s.
Screaming into the mic.
Yeah.
Oh, sorry.
You are like screaming into it.
Sorry.
It even shows it there that you're screaming into. You see the red? Those are parts where it sounds like it's going to be all distorted, and it will sound bad.
Well, I'll step back, and I don't see the red. It just looks like a pretty abstract painting. And so my mother-in-law writes, these girls, like I'm so sad to see these girls. In Spanish, the translation, it pains me to see these girls. And then my mom catches it, and so my mom immediately replies in Spanish
To everybody.
to her specific comment. But
like-
everybody can see it. It's on the comment thread of Alli's model photo. And so she writes, no, that's not what this is. This is Alli, as a kid who did a favor for her mom's friend who had a salon. My mom embellished the story. And then goes, it's just like a funny joke. Alli put it on as a joke on Facebook. Cut to my mother-in-law sending me a huge long message that is a gigantic apology to my sister. And now I think, I'm like, does she think that's Becky? Because she knows Alli's my sister-in-law. She's like, I'm so sorry I said that about your sister. I can't believe I did that. I'm so sorry. I'm embarrassed. I'm ashamed. I didn't mean to offend her. And I'm like, the worst is that she doesn't even realize how this is so not a big deal. So then I write her back, really don't worry about it. Then I give my husband shit because I assume he like tattletales on her and or whatever. And he's like, I never even talked to her about it. And then she then writes something else. She
apologizes on my Facebook.
Then she apologized publicly on Alli's Facebook, and then finally Alli writes back, "No pasa nada." Like, it's all good because this thing got out of hand.
Which to give a little more background on Alli, she has conversational Spanish. She's fluent in conversational Spanish, and so
she
no
can
pasa nada is part
she
of
can
her
converse
ability
in Spanish. So
It's
no big deal.
She's conversational and proficient conversational Spanish. We brought Alli on, obviously to uncover the story behind this photo, but we also brought her on for her to defend her taste in movies, which I support fully. But I
sense hesitation.
No, but I know that there's some stuff we have to unpack, and I thought the fun way for us to do
it was
this.
such a marriage moment where you're like, I live with her, she's my wife, just keep it cool.
No,
I support
I like-
fully.
I just avoid these things. I love these movies. All right, so we're gonna go through some of Alli's favorite movies and shows and things like that, and do some buy, rent, or meh, one of our games. I don't think we've played it in a couple of episodes. So buy, rent, or meh, just for people following at home, is you're offered either. It's like our rating system, and you're offered 3 items often, and you have to pick which one of them you would buy, as in like buy it on iTunes, rent, as in rent it on iTunes, or meh, wait for it on streaming, wait for it to come on regular television, or maybe never see it.
You want to spend money on it.
It really depends on how you decide how you define meh, and that is up to whoever says it. So we're going to do that with some of things we know Alli loves and our panel of experts here, and Lily and Becky. Some of these things have been covered before, but we're still going to go a little bit deeper this time. So we know rom-coms are really important to Alli.
True story. I can't deny it.
And we've got 3 rom-coms on the ballot here. One is, and they all start with the, because most of...
The worst is that, like, I love rom-coms. Becky likes rom-coms. I don't understand how we have a sister-in-law that loves rom-coms, and we cannot see eye to eye on this.
So we have...
It's my one thing of, like, Alli can't be perfect. Like, she can't be the perfect sister-in-law, so this is, like, her one thing. And she doesn't use salad dressing, which is so weird.
I've gotten past that. I'm on board more.
Always like,
I sent you a picture of salad dressing that I was using.
True.
Becky and I are often like, I wonder what Alli's doing right now. But she's eating a salad with that dressing.
That's normally my guess.
So we have the holiday, the wedding date,
Ugh.
and The proposal.
I was like, are we
I will say the wedding date.
Oh.
The first time I saw the wedding date, that is Deborah Messing.
Messing with
and-
one of the Mulrooney's.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And the first time I saw it was with Alli's family on Yom Kippur.
Woo,
And
that's a weird one.
yeah, it was like we were killing time during the fast, and it was
That's
fasting was more
so
fun than this movie.
Her clothes, I have so much to say about this
She was
movie.
pregnant at parts of that movie.
Her clothes and her
It's
wardrobe
a very
is horrible.
weird premise.
So
It's
here's-
a very strange
Okay,
premise
wait.
for a
Okay.
film.
Let's
Oh,
go
wait,
back
whole
through the
night.
buy, renting, or mesh.
Okay.
Let Alli go first.
Can you have 3 minutes?
No, you always break the rules.
Yeah.
I think Alli should go.
All right. I'll start with my meh. Meh is the proposal, because that's really your movie more so than mine. You have seen that movie way more times.
What are you talking about? What did you say?
I said that makes sense why I would buy it.
Shy is definitely on board with the
It's
proposal.
got
If it's
Sandra
on TV,
Bullock,
you stop
Betty
and watch
White,
it.
and Ryan
Yeah,
Reynolds.
and Betty White's adorable, and
And
Ryan
it has
Reynolds
Canada
is
in
a
it.
national treasure. I get that, but
There's
it's
a whole Canada component.
I thought it was just Alaska.
It's supposed to be Alaska.
Oh, she's
her
Canadian.
citizenship is
Yeah,
Canadian.
yeah, yeah.
But the movie itself does not really.
And they don't have the best chemistry, let's be honest.
No, the chemistry's not great. And it never
Okay.
has risen to the surface to me as like one of those like, oh, I have to stop and watch this on TBS while I fold laundry kind of movies. I'm like, I could keep flipping, in hopes that I would come across The Wedding Date, which I would rent, because it's got Deborah Messing, love her, Dermot or Dylan, whichever one is in it. No one's ever clear. The problem with that movie,
Mulrooney, right? I think it's Dermot Mulrooney. Is it?
yeah,
That's Dermot Mulroney.
Yeah, that's
Then
Dermot.
who's Dylan McDermott? I have to
He's
look.
the one from that show. Was it The Practice?
Yeah.
No. Was it The Practice?
Practicing, he's on LA to
No,
Vegas.
no,
Wait,
I
which
can
one?
only think of the guy who plays Will now in Will and Grace. Is
No,
that the one?
No, that's
Eric
McCormick.
McCormick.
Eric McCormick.
But that's the face I'm thinking of.
That's his
They're
face.
related.
It's the same
Who's
face.
the husband in?
It's the same kind of face.
In Julia Roberts and Sally Field, Steel Magnolias. Who's the husband?
No, he's like not even in the movie.
Yes, he's
Nobody
married to
cares.
Julia
Yeah,
Roberts.
but I'll check. But
It's
no,
either
there's-
Dylan or
There's a husband in that
Oh,
movie?
it's Dermot. It's Dylan McDermott.
yeah.
Okay.
Oh wow, I'm really having a moment.
I'll look him up for
I need
you.
to look them up right now.
This is life imitating art.
I'm
imitating
enjoying how much I don't know their faces now.
life.
Do you want me to show you his face?
No,
He does look like Will from Will and Grace, though.
You can't have a third person and it's just gonna be
Ah,
confusing.
yes. Wait, are you sure that's not John Bernthal?
Oh my god.
Okay, so for anybody listening, that was a
Becky.
callback to the first or second episode of the podcast.
Like face
when,
recognition disorder.
when we were concerned that the possible
something to
bit
laugh
of
at,
the
but it's
show,
true that
when we
you
were
had
concerned
it.
that the possible bit of the show was us talking about something for an hour and then being completely wrong about it. So anyways, if you go back and you find the John Bernthal episode, it's probably episode 2 or 3. That's where you'll get the John Bernthal joke. So anyways, why do you like The Wedding Date? I don't remember
Okay,
what
it
happens
had-
other than it involves human trafficking.
No,
Right? Doesn't
he's
she bring a prostitute across international lines?
I think
She-
he's a
It's her
consenting
friend.
adult.
Isn't
No, he's a prostitute.
She
She
hires
him to
He
be
is
her
a
wedding
man
date.
of the night.
Yeah, no.
Oh,
go to
he's
her
Mulrooney's the man of the
Yeah.
night.
To go to her ex-boyfriend's
No.
wedding in London.
Mulrooney's the one that's getting married.
No.
No,
this
he
isn't-
plays the gigolo.
Oh, what? I'm thinking of the Julia Roberts one.
My best friend's wedding. Where her outfits are really bad.
talking about the same movie. Oh man, I'm not even talking about the same
Oh
movie.
my god.
No wonder I was like,
No,
so
and
confused.
that's...
But Mulrooney's in both.
Yeah, he is. He's the
Okay.
yeah. You're right.
Okay.
Well,
All right, so what happens at my best friend's wedding date?
Because my best friend's wedding has like
I
some...
read my best friend's wedding. That's
No,
not so
I don't
bad. The
actually even like
outfits are
that one.
terrible, but that's
You're
bad.
screaming.
Sorry.
Here's what is enjoyable about that movie. There are delightful moments. There's a lot of international British humor, which I always find very entertaining. It's like, oh, we're in England and we grew up here, so we kind of are part British and we're kind of part American, and it's very cute in that sense.
Who grew up there?
No, the characters in the
yeah,
movie.
the daughters
Oh,
in the
the
movie. The characters
characters,
like
okay.
grew up like partially overseas. But the best thing about that movie is it's one of those movies where there was clearly things that got left on the cutting room floor. And there, if you watch it enough time, there are giant gaps that you realize that you have to fill in yourself because otherwise they make no sense.
I think that's just a bad
But it's
movie,
not a
but
but that
But it
you're
allows
so
for some
attached to it.
creativity on
Yeah.
my
No,
part.
but it's not like a break-in situation, as Becky says. Only the good parts. It's just like
No, it's random bits
Spotty.
and pieces that you have to kind of piece together and make your own backstory for.
And they end up together at the end, right?
Yeah.
Her in the process.
Spoilers.
For anyone who hasn't seen this 20-year-old
It's a reverse
movie.
Pretty Woman. It's Pretty Man.
Sure. Internationally.
And that, are we disturbing you guys? What's going
No,
on?
I'm looking it up. I'm literally
I
looking it
literally
up.
thought this was a
It's
different
delightful.
movie.
It's delightful. She also wears a really good dress in the scene where she finds out about some deceit that happened to her. It's an excellent Deborah Messing costume
You're making
moment.
me feel like the reasons you like movies is not the reasons you should.
That's why I like Nancy Meyers movies. It's because it's like kitchen porn.
You're right. That is true.
That's a reasonable.
Do you know that-
I remember seeing this movie and not liking it and not getting it. Like,
Because there's gaps.
Well,
That's what
Giant
the
gap.
huge.
I don't know. We watched The Snowman. We liked that. It had tons of gaps. I
No,
liked it.
there was
Also,
so many unfinished
update on the
things.
snowman. Lily and I went to go
Oh,
make a
this
snowman
is actually
the other
very
day.
important.
It's actually really important.
The point is that we were telling an innocent story about serial killers. Just give you a context. So Becky and I, you go ahead. Becky and I were building.
We were building
there's
a
a
snowman,
snowstorm last
and
week.
it just takes a lot longer than you think it
It's
would.
like a half an hour to
Yeah.
make a snowman.
I don't see how you're gonna have time to make a snowman as like your
Murdering
whatever it is.
somebody.
Yeah,
Calling card.
yeah, your
It's a very
calling
cold
card.
place, though.
And
I
then,
just
and
feel
then
like it takes
Becky was like, had a
time.
good point. Becky, and then we really had like a long conversation while we're doing this. Becky's like, also, you need a very particular type
You
of
need
snow.
a wet, sticky snow.
So how come every time the snow? I was like, well, they're in like Sweden. There's a lot of snow. And I'm like, maybe he carries like a spray bottle around. And Becky's like,
Spritzes it.
spritzes it. Becky's like, he's just carrying around spray bottles. And we both agree that he definitely was carrying around like the stones and like the
you
carrot
need
for the nose.
You
and all
need
that.
that stuff.
Some just
It's
lying
not
around.
like-
Because we could not
Well,
find that
let's
stuff
be
while
clear.
trying to build a
That guy
snowman.
was chopping people up with chicken wire. You think that he didn't remember he had those wire
Stop
cutter
it.
things?
I didn't only watch the first 20 minutes.
Oh, okay. Well, I'm just saying, like, I'm sure he could bring some carrots.
I think he could bring the carrots, but Becky and I were saying that logistically, it takes too long to make a snowman for that movie to work.
One, and two, you need the right kind of snow.
True.
I like the spritzer bottle. The
Theory?
spritzer bottle theory works for me.
All right, back to your.
Wait, I want to give you a
choice.
pro mom tip for your house because if you don't have the stones and the carrots, things that our houses always have that will work in a pinch for the eyes, prunes. That's what we used last time there was a snowstorm.
Prunes.
Couldn't find any rocks.
Yeah,
That
and then you have some
Ferns.
very regular squirrels.
Exactly.
So-
Wait, and then your buy. Tell us
Yeah,
why
let's
you would
go
buy.
go
your
deep on the
buy.
buy.
Obviously the holiday, but here's the problem with it. Can I buy the good half?
I
Can I buy
appreciate that
the
you are
good half?
recognizing that there's a good half. Now, which is your good half?
I mean, okay, I want to cut and paste parts of the two halves together because I want to look
Okay,
at
so
Jude
that's
Law.
not what I'm
I want
talking
to
about
look
by
at
good
Jude
half.
Law for part of my half, but I want the story of Jack Black and Kate Winslet. What's her name?
Kate
I
Winslet.
always-
And Jasper.
No, he's the worst. He's the worst. He's
Rufus
looks like
Sewell
a serial
as
killer.
Jasper.
He's so terrifying. And the old man,
Eli
Eli
Wallach.
Wallach.
The only good part of that movie.
No,
He should have
lots
ended
more.
up with Kate Winslet.
I met him once.
I know. I was so excited about
Oh, yeah.
that.
What was
because
that
the
like when you met
holiday.
Eli
He's
Wallach?
such a sweet old man.
Was he 4
just-
feet tall?
Oh, he was miniature, and he was really, really, really sweet. And we actually had a lovely conversation about Audrey Hepburn and what it was like for him.
I mean, that's
to
insane.
act alongside Audrey Hepburn, and how, as small as he was, she was even smaller than him, and so it was just very sweet.
So he
Told us some
basically is
anecdotes about her.
exactly the character that he plays in The Holiday. He's like
He's
this
a sweet old-
institution of Hollywood knowledge.
Yeah.
He's amazing in pretty much everything he's in. But in The Godfather 3, which is maligned for a lot of reasons it deters, there are also some amazing elements of it. And Eli Wallach is amazing as the sort of, you're not sure if he's good, you're not sure if he's bad villain of the movie. That's a movie that could use like a fan cut. That would work really well. Okay, all right. The next Buy Rent or Meh is the sequels edition. So this is the sequel to Buy Rent or Meh. And Alli is known for liking sequels of movies, sometimes more than others. This one isn't going to be on the list, but do you know that in cleaning through our DVD collection, we own a copy of Charlie's Angels Full Throttle, but not the first Charlie Angels. And I didn't buy it. It's because Alli
So you
loves...
just bought Full Throttle. They didn't come in a DVD pack where you had to get both. You're like,
I mean, I probably,
I
if
was
I
like,
waited
who-
a couple of years for that to happen, but I wanted it right then, right there. I
to
wanted
watch
Full
Full
Throttle.
Allie's like, who wants to see the first Charlie's Angels? I want to see the one with the motorcycle chase.
is that the one with Sam Rockwell? The second one? Or is that
Sam
That's the
Rockwell
first
is
one.
the first one.
That's the first one. Oh, yeah.
No,
Justin
because no
Theroux
one
is
had-
the second one. I mean, we can have a
So,
whole
anyways,
segment
that one
about
doesn't fit as a rom-com, so it's not going to be in this. But that's just sort of
Why did
laying
they
the
bring it up?
bedrock for Alli loving
God, I kind
sequels.
of want to go back and watch the first Charlie's Angels now.
It's kind of enjoyable,
See if it
actually.
holds
Oh, the first Sons of Anarchy is a really fun movie. So,
Not to
Bridget
Alli.
Jones 2,
Oh, Allie, no.
Really?
Oh no, that should never
Sex
have been
in
made.
the
Oh, these
City,
are just your
Sex
list.
in the City 2,
It's the same difference
Also
with
horrific.
either one of them.
and then Magic Mike 2.
Oh.
Which I would like to note, I was not even allowed to go to the theater with Alli and her friends for this because they wanted their alone time with the guys from Magic Mike. And I wanted to go see it, and I was told I had to stay at
Can
home.
I just say I love the stakes of Magic Mike 2, that they're just trying to get to like a dance performance in Tampa or something.
Yep.
Oh, like they're
wherever-
not trying to save the center.
Right, like there's not, or it's not like a competition to like get your own show. It's just like we're just gonna go to this like stripper convention.
It's their
Like,
one
it's
last
such-
ride.
I
That's
know.
their.
I just love how low the stakes are in it. Like it's really that's the
They just
right
want to have one
stakes
last
for
fun
that
night.
movie.
Yeah, that's the premise.
So,
Yeah.
so Magic Mike 1, which I think is actually
a great movie.
surprisingly
Yeah.
terrific movie, is kind of it's got very Soderbergh-y, lots of whispering, lots of cameras like pointing at the wall, hearing people talking in the corner. But it's a dark, not even, it was billed as a comedy, but it's not really a comedy. It's kind of a dark, moody, interesting movie about with well acted. You had a great Matthew McConaughey role. You had Channing Tatum doing a great job. All the other dancer guys were really fun. And then they made the sequel, which I did not like the sequel at all. I was very disappointed in the sequel. It was a bummer for me because all of the moody, interesting stuff of the first one, they managed to keep like the feel of that, but without any, I don't know,
Substance.
without any.
Like
substance.
I
I disagree.
Very low stakes.
I don't think there was any substance to the second one. It was pure. Like, what was the tagline for the South Park movie? Like, bigger, longer, and uncut. That was basically the theme for Magic Mike 2. They were like, how can we get women back to the theater?
I mean, the name of the movie was Magic Mike XXL.
XXL.
Like they didn't. Fair enough.
Like, there was no substance. There was no Soderbergh qualities. It was just reasons to have more strip scenes.
It was like there was some Soderbergh-ish. He didn't direct the sequel, right? Can
No.
we have a check on that? But
No, he did not.
They kept the aesthetic, but he didn't direct it.
100%.
But there is one scene in Magic Mike 2 that I think exceeds
I know.
almost every scene in both movies, and that is the scene where Mangiello dances in the 7-Eleven.
Oh, yeah.
That's a
amazing.
great.
That
That's a
scene
great
on its
scene.
own is funny, and it
That's one
has
of the best
heart,
scenes.
and it is amazing. It is not necessarily worth watching the entire 2-hour movie, but it is an amazing scene. So, of these, how do you buy Rent or
Bridget
Man?
Jones is too, like, we never speak of it. It's dead. It never happened. We don't discuss
It
it.
doesn't even get a man.
It doesn't get anything. It should never have been made. It's just painful to talk about. The what do we have? Sex and the City 2. Also painful in many ways. Enjoyable to revisit those characters because that's always fun. But they once Shai pointed out how horrible a human being Carrie Bradshaw is, it was like I could never unsee it. And I watch everything now through the lens of really like, oh wow, she really is a bad person. And then there was a lot of cultural insensitivity
Bradshaw
in Sex
is
and the
trash.
City too.
When are we getting that one?
Yeah,
That's what I want to know.
I wish.
It's a good question.
Exactly. We've given the shout out to Zack Morris as trash.
Yeah,
There
last
should be
time.
a Carrie
Yeah,
Bradshaw
so
as
good.
trash. There should be a
Rachel.
Rachel Green as trash.
I'm not
Green
ready.
is trash.
I'm not ready.
Rachel Green is
She's pretty bad. I'd like enjoy it out of love for her, but
No,
it's
she
she's
breaks up
pretty
Wedd
bad.
It's bad. I know.
Yeah.
But yeah, Sex and the City 2 is pretty awful, and Magic Mike 2. I think my favorite part about Magic was it Magic Mike 2 or Magic Mike 1 that you were like, "Hey Allie, what are you doing tonight?" And I was like, "I'm going to see Magic Mike
1.
2." Was it 1?
I think it was one that you went to see it, right?
I believe 3
times in the theaters.
theater.
That was one. And then
you were like,
and then for your birthday, I bought it for you on iTunes.
but my favorite thing about seeing it 3 times in theater is when you were like, don't you have a baby? Don't you have a job? Aren't they the things you're supposed to be
And
doing?
also, it's like when you
How
have
are
free
you
time,
doing
how are you only doing that? And then when the second one,
you only see Magic Mike?
like in theaters,
What do you-
in the theater, and you're like, I can make it happen.
I only see Magic Mike on my free time. That's
Right.
Alli's tagline.
Tagline. And
That's
then
her
when-
status on Facebook.
And
I
then when
only
the
spend
second one came out, I was like, how excited are you for this movie, right? And she was like, yeah. And I couldn't imagine she'd do the same thing. And you did.
I did.
She went and saw it 3 times in theaters.
Yeah, I mean, look, different
Unbelievable.
friend groups who needed to see it. Like, I didn't
Alli
want to
was
miss.
there.
I
She was the
didn't want to miss
ambassador.
the viewing with like any of those groups.
Hilarious.
Okay.
Okay, I'm just gonna say it. I'm gonna I'm just gonna say I'm Mang. I don't even remember the titles of those movies are so bad. It's number 2, Sex and the City. Number 2, Bridget Jones. The worst is that for Bridget Jones, it's like it's so hurtful because the first one is like that movie's iconic for me. So Mang those, and I'll rent Magic Mike 2. There's no but.
Well, we own Magic Mike 2, so I can't really say I would rent it. Even though I would probably take a similar take to Lily. Becky, I don't know if I'm going to make you weigh in
I
on
don't
this.
think I have to play.
All right, so now we're going to go a little bit deeper, a little bit darker. There's a show that I think is an all-time fave of the four of us, and many others. In fact, I'd like to give a shout-out to our dear friend Dave at the Bonsai Retro Club, because he is a big fan of this show. And I know they do retro stuff, but if he ever wanted to come and talk Sons of Anarchy, I would love for Dave to come on and talk Sons of Anarchy.
Some serious fans over here.
Yeah, we are serious fans. I was on the Sons of Anarchy bandwagon from the beginning because I love Ron Perlman and everything, and I love Charlie Hunnam when he was in Undeclared, Judd Apatow's show.
Oh, yeah.
And so I was psyched about that, and
With
Katie
Becky's good
Segal
friend Jay Baruchel.
and Jay Baruchel and Becky.
Sidebar, I
buddies.
am not friends with him. We are all from Montreal, and that's the only reason.
He's from
And we
From, like,
on one of the
Yeah, he's
movies
from-
you were working on or something. We met him in New York or
I
something.
wasn't working on it. Some friends of mine where we went to their set. And
You should have seen Becky's face. I've never seen Becky get like cringe, like we like made her feel really awkward there. She's like, I'm not trying to like freeload on being someone else's star here.
I'm just like, I'm not friends with him.
Anyways, so
I mean, I'm sure we could be friends. He's from Montreal. He's from NDG.
I feel like if you're from Montreal,
I'm not gonna. This is actually a true story. When I did meet him with Becky on his movie set with that movie he made with Nicolas Cage, within 2 seconds.
Nicolas Cage. Was
Yeah,
in it?
Nicolas
Was
Cage is in it. The Sorcerer's
Apprentice one?
Yeah.
Never
Any,
saw it.
no one saw that. So then when we were meeting him, within 2 seconds, somehow we were talking about our synagogue. I'm not even like Dorothy. That's how we like. There was a connection of a kid that went to our shul that he's like really good friends with. So hilarious.
because that's a cool thing about Montreal. If you're from Montreal, you're kind of always
Connected to somebody.
So Sons, we got on the ground floor, but we became. I mean, we were really big fans. We were such big fans that we bought the music from the soundtrack, and we bought the music from the band, the house band, the Forest Rangers, that did all of the music for that show, which is incredible. I've done their pledge musics. I've gotten Alli presents that has to do with them. So we're big fans, and we're
I've
not.
gotten Jose presents that are Sons of
Yeah, I've
Anarchy
gotten
themed.
money because people love that show.
Oh yeah.
When people love that
I've
show,
gotten people presents for friends that love this show too. Like it expands.
it was a great show. Even in the moments where it was flawed, like overall, it was a really fun crime epic.
Well, I don't think you know
She never
I don't
finished
think
it.
you know my secret.
Becky never finished it.
The episode where Tig's dog.
Oh, don't say anything
yeah.
in case there's spoilers.
Yeah.
Major spoiler here.
Don't
And
say
that's
it.
like a
There's an event that happens in the movie where most
show.
people almost
It's a
in the
show.
show, where most people almost stop watching.
Becky stopped
It's
watching.
the Red Wedding of Sons of Anarchy.
I couldn't
Yeah.
keep watching.
or that Walking Dead thing that happened.
I couldn't
Right.
keep watching, and then I was actually going to keep watching. It was like 6 months later. I was getting my courage back up. I was going to finish it, and the dumbest PA of my life that was ever working for me was like, "Oh yeah, you like Sons?" I'm like, "Yeah, but I haven't finished it yet." He's like, "Oh yeah, because you know at the end," bleh, and then literally tells me the big spoiler of the entire series.
That sucks.
And I was like, "Well,
Never
there's no
know.
way I can finish it now."
Yeah, that makes
it was
sense.
too heartbreaking.
Well,
terrible.
we are going to not talk about any deep plot elements. We'll do a Sons of Anarchy breakdown another time. We're going to be a little bit superficial now. Because one thing about my wife that you should know is that aside from loving very, deep dramatic shows like Big Little Lies and Downtown Abbey.
Downton.
Downtown.
Okay.
Alli really enjoys shows with graphic sexual content and violence.
And lots of like Charlie Hunnam bottoms.
Exactly. So we're going to do buy, rent, or meh of the body parts that were often featured in Sons of Anarchy. So these aren't all sexual. Some of them are violent.
Don't worry,
One-
Allie's happy anyways.
Number one, is Jax's buns, Charlie Hunnam's buns, which
Everybody's buying those.
Yes, everyone's buying those.
Even you're shy.
Chibs's cheeks, because Chibs has those scars on his cheeks.
Wait, can I point out an amazing callback? You do realize that Chibs is in Charlie's Angels too. He's in Justin Theroux's gang of Irishmen. It's the first time I ever saw him.
Nobody knows that.
Yes.
Nobody sees that movie.
Because you don't
Nobody
forget
knows
those
that.
cheeks. Well,
I
now
know,
they do.
but
You're welcome.
like,
You're
wow,
welcome for that.
Allison, that is insane.
You're welcome.
So
I feel like of all that guy's filmography, nobody would bring that up. So
I'm here to
good
help.
for you.
So Chibs's cheeks, Chibs has these incredible scars, and then Beck, this might be a little bit of spoiler, so just brace yourself. Bobby's eye from the last season.
It was
Buy, rent, or Bobby Elvis.
the chubby guy.
Oh,
Bobby
he's
Elvis.
Jewish.
Bobby Elvis.
On the show, he's
Yeah,
Jewish.
he's the Jewish guy.
Jewish in the show? Oh, no.
So is Gemma's character.
Oh yeah.
Really?
She talks often about her Jewish Russian grandmother.
Really?
Buying the buns, renting the cheeks, the eye.
Ditto.
I'm buying the cheeks.
The cheeks are really good.
The cheeks, because Chibs is one of my favorite
Yeah.
characters.
And those cheeks
The
are very
buns,
intense.
the buns are close though, so that's a red.
Yeah.
And I'm gonna meh the eye, only because, well, no, it's just super gross.
So gross.
All right, and now we're gonna buy, rent, or meh the leading ladies of the show. This is gonna be tough. Now this one is gonna be deep. This is gonna be superficial. Wendy, Jax's first wife. Gemma, Jax's mom,
Tara.
and Tara, Jax's.
I feel like this is
Wife
not that.
of-
Not
She
all.
doesn't
You have to
hurt
buy
at all.
Gemma.
You have to buy Gemma.
Lady Macbeth. Like she's
Yeah.
insane.
Wow.
And she's.
I thought there would at
have
least be
to-
one
Doesn't
Wendy.
Tara,
Oh
in
no,
this.
like,
she's not
turn
Lady
into-
Macbeth. She's it's
Yeah.
Hamlet. The show's Hamlet.
She's
so
Gertrude.
His, Gertrude. Yeah, his
Yeah.
mom. Hamlet's. I mean, that's like Gertrude's also a great character in like literature. So she's 100% buying her.
Wendy renting because she starts at a really low point, but she comes full circle.
I
And she
think you're
ends on
gonna
a
met
high.
Tara though.
Tara is the worst character on that show.
Okay,
I'm not saying she got
Okay.
what she had coming to her, but like, or she deserves what she had coming, but she is literally the worst part of that show.
I'm going to rent her because I feel like she also evolves tremendously. So I'm gonna rent Tara and meh Wendy.
Okay, well, I'm gonna buy Gemma. You do have to buy Gemma. I almost bought Wendy, but you're right. Gemma is the heart of that show.
She's amazing.
Katie
Fire.
Siegel's performance
I feel like I
is off
can't
the
see
charts.
her in anything else.
Yeah,
She's
100%.
only Gemma to me now.
And the whole, her husband, who's creator of the show, their whole artistic partnership
Her
is so
singing.
amazing. She sang so many of the songs in that incredibly haunting soundtrack. You're right. She's the heart of the show. Wendy is definitely a rent, and Tara, meh for sure, because I found her character annoying throughout the show. But what's funny is that she's so important and good on Billions that and the same actress, and there's some similarities because in both shows she's kind of like the
Yeah,
moral.
but I think that proves
the
that
moral
the
center.
writing for her on Sons and the directing for her on Sons was what makes you not like her. It's not her acting.
No,
'Cause I
but-
like her on.
and-
I like
but
her a
here-
lot on
here-
Billions.
Here's the thing: the reason why I would rent her is because I feel like her character had a serious darkness to it, and they slowly pull that out over
Oh.
the seasons, and that's what I found very compelling about her.
It's a good
Is that-
point, but she's still like just kind of couldn't take her.
And as she continues to compromise herself, right? Like she continues to.
It's like little by little, it's like pulling it like a thread, and you're slowly
And
unraveling
when
her.
her hand gets slammed in the door and she kind of gets darker. Yeah, all right.
Yeah.
She's still gonna get my man, but because I've seen more of Maggie Siff's work, I really do appreciate more what she did with that character.
Moving on.
Moving on to what we are watching. And time goes fast. So what are we watching? Are we going to talk about the time traveling nurse in the room?
Yes. So I'm just gonna say it again. I'm knees deep in Outlander.
I've
And I
turned
feel
Lily
like
into a monster,
it's
and I can't
really-
watch anything because she only wants to talk about Outlander.
So you're
I like-
not
We
watching.
can't even watch episodes because she just pauses.
I
it
pause
to
it.
talk
I
about
pause it every 5 seconds to be like, I have a question. Oh my god, I can't believe that happened because you already saw it.
I'm not watching.
My favorite thing is
It's like
watching
watching with a
show-
6-year-old. What's going to happen? What's going to happen? Do you want to know? No.
Yeah, exactly. I could be like, I could just tell you. I'm like, don't tell me. But
And Alli and I at this point are like, can you just tell us what happens?
no, because you have to get through, again, listeners, you got to get through the first few episodes, but then it really...
First 7, I believe you
First
said
seven.
specifically.
First 7. But
I
Alli,
loved it right away.
Alli,
I loved it right
let me
away.
tell you something. Literally Shy described your perfect show. Sex and violence.
I know.
This show's got it. So.
And like third
And
on my list
Britishness.
is like a Robin Hood-esque vibe. So it's all there. It's all there. I just waited for
Just
it
has
to
a
get
slow,
really
it
good.
has a slow start. But you asked me, Shy, last week why I like it.
Yeah.
And I feel like I'm coming at it from a very specific perspective. And I really like this show because I identify with it. Now, I have not time traveled myself.
You have, I will say, you
I
have
am
been
not a
sick
nurse.
so many times, though, that you are basically qualified to...
As be a nurse? To be a
A
nurse?
healer.
I am not a healer nor a time traveler. However, I do feel, I don't want to give any spoilers away for you guys, there is a love story that does develop throughout the show. I'll just say that.
It's just like a
You mean they're
forbidden
not- you mean they're
international
not-
love.
You mean they're not telegraphing where the love story is going from the first episode? Is it
Right,
like a
okay.
spoiler that she falls in love with the only handsome man in Scotland from the
He has all of his
1700s?
teeth.
All of the other guys,
"Wait, is
all of the
there?"
other guys look like extras from the dwarf group in The Hobbit.
Right.
And in fact, many of them were actors who played the dwarves in The Hobbit.
Exactly. So what I'm trying to say is, okay, no big spoilers, but so there's a love story that runs through the show, and there's something about the fact that this love story sort of happens to the main character, and it's something like out of her control, and it's just sort of this incredible thing, and then it leads her life down a path that she wouldn't necessarily choose.
Like to the Canary Islands?
Like to the Canary Islands. And so what I'm trying to say is that I identify as that I feel like in my personal life, I had this sort of love that happened to me as opposed to, like, I feel like it's something that occurred to me. Like, it happened to
So
me.
this might
It
be
did
why
something I could control.
This might be why I love Chuck, because it is about a nerd who falls in love with a very athletic, amazing woman who is way out of his
Maybe.
league.
Oh, that is true.
so
You're right. He's so
nice.
athletic. So
I know, right?
Yeah.
She's
So
getting her
yeah.
steps.
She could be a CIA or spy.
Just so we know what the bar is in the Corman family,
Uh,
getting
that's-
your steps is
Counts as athletic, a professional athlete. So
Basically Olympic level.
So what I'm trying to say is that identify, like, what I really like about the show is that it's just, while it is like a fun, cute love story, but it's also about somebody really choosing to change their whole entire life and going, towards something that they don't really know, and it's mysterious and it's out of control, but it's above and beyond anything else. And I really like that because I ended up in the Canary Islands for something like that. So
It's very, very sweet. All right, it's getting very romantic
I
here.
know, this show is so good.
Becky.
I'm not kidding when I say I'm not watching anything because of Lily. All she does is talk to me and ask me questions about Outlander.
You could have forced to rewatch it with you love.
Even when I offer to watch episodes with her, we don't watch the episodes. She just asks me questions.
There's so many questions.
What did you watch on the plane on the way over?
I watched 4 episodes of Chuck back to back.
Oh, okay, so we've already talked about
Yeah, so I'm watching Chuck, and I guess that's about it.
Okay. Al, I know
We tried
live
Life
in
in
this-
Pieces last night.
Oh,
that was pretty
yeah.
funny.
So cute.
I was pissing myself watching it with you guys.
That show is
That show
hilarious.
is amazing, and Zack Morris is trash, which is a little bit life changing.
It's amazing.
Just a little bit, a touch of life changing right there.
Yes.
What are you
What
watching?
are you watching?
We're watching Outlander. That's happening slowly but surely, and I feel like we're very, very happily kind of making our way through the middle, which is like I said to you the other night, a show comes along exactly when you need it to like fill a certain space in your life, and like right now, I feel like we needed like something that was a little bit poignant, but also a little bit silly and like very
fall asleep
sweet.
to.
And you could fall asleep to, and it doesn't matter if you miss a couple episodes. And that show is hilarious. That
Showendipity, if you will.
Showendipity.
New
I think
bit right
new
there.
bit right there. When a
Serendipity.
show comes along at the right
Time in
time,
your life and just
New
when you
bit.
need it.
And I would say
Showendipity.
Outlander
We're gonna have to have
was
a glossary.
Showendipitous for me.
there you go.
Outlander was Showendipitous for me at the time.
Showendipitous.
For me,
Even better.
And for me, the Avatar and Legend of Korra came
Show-
right
yeah.
when Star Wars broke my heart. And that's
Oh.
part of why I was so attached to those shows.
Cool.
Showendipity. All right, new bit. People are gonna have to talk about it when they come on. Be prepared. Okay, so yeah, we're watching The Middle, Love in the Middle. Totally into Outlander, even if we're making our way slowly through it. There is a show that my friend Anne Louise recommended called The Detroiters, which I just popped on the first couple episodes.
What
It's
network?
Hilarious. Comedy Central. So you can stream it off their website. At least you can stream the pilot off their website.
Cool.
It stars Sam and Tim are the names of the actors, and they have different last names on the show, but it's the names of their real last names if you can pull them up a little. Anyways, hilarious.
Sam Richardson and Tim Robinson.
That's it. Yeah.
They basically have the same name.
They have almost the same name. It's one of these great shows. It reminds me a little bit of Psych, of two silly best friends who are in,
it's
in
the guy
business
from
together.
Veep. He's hilarious. Isn't it?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, he's in Veep.
Oh, okay. I haven't watched Veep in a while, so I don't remember.
Oh, he plays this guy that plays
plays
the
the-
super annoying assistant intern or whatever.
So funny.
Oh, okay. Well, he's hilarious.
hilarious.
He's hilarious. They're wonderful. They play these two goofballs who inherit an ad agency from one of the characters' fathers, and they are trying to make the company work, and they're a little bit good at their job, but also ridiculous. In fact, it reminds me a little bit of Tommy Boy, in that they're trying to save the company and doing pitches, but they're also kind of ridiculous and make ridiculous choices, and they're also best friends in a really sweet way. So I watched 2 episodes, I'm immediately hooked, totally into that show. And yeah, so that's what I'm watching. Why don't we move to Shoutouts? First of all, I want to shout out to Lindsay, aka @AfrosXII, who everyone should follow on Twitter, who is an amazing artist, my sensei when it comes to art. She's always so gracious in helping teaching me do things. She wrote in based on the last episode and our discussion about prequels and whether or not there were any good prequels. And she says that the Planet of the Apes prequels, The Rise, The Dawn, and The War of the Planet of the Apes, qualify as very good sequels. I remember not really liking The Rise. I thought The War for the Planet of the Apes was... the Dawn of the Planet of the Apes was actually really, really cool. And then I haven't seen The War for the Planet of the Apes. So if anyone is interested in the prequel conversation, those are recommendations from a very smart person. I'm going to double down on our shout out to Gato1Dog, @Gato1Dog.
I have to say, it is like my life is complete. That somebody has quoted me back to me on, it doesn't have to be on Twitter, but the fact that he quoted lines from the podcast, I quote lines from our podcast, but that's like just weird and pathetic. The fact that somebody else did out there in the Twitter
And someone
sphere-
with good taste who's like,
Oh
cool.
yeah, for sure. I'm like super happy about that because he picked really good lines too.
So, Gato, we love you. Lily would welcome you anytime in the Canary Islands if you want a vacation
totally.
there. You will get VIP treatment when you go there.
And they can actually call you Gato.
Yeah.
That could just be your name there.
And, last but not least, we just don't talk about it enough. But
my
we've
God.
really got to
Cousin
give a shout out to
Vanessa.
Cousin
We
Vanessa.
miss Cousin Vanessa.
Miss Cousin
We haven't seen
Vanessa
her in a
and
couple
Becky,
weeks.
Vanessa and Becky are on a group chat together. And Becky literally turned away for 5 minutes and she turns back. There's 62 messages. And it's all just me and Vanessa talking about Outlander. And now we refer to our children as the Bairns.
If people would like to get
That's
on that
Gaelic for
WhatsApp
children.
chat, reach out to Lily. She'll add you in. All right. Lily, where can people find you?
Chi K. Gomez on Twitter.
Becky?
I may not ever be able to find your tweets to me.
But if you do,
But
Lily will love you forever.
Yes, you get a prize if I find it.
Paper BK Princess on Twitter, and this week up on the recipe blog is like a quick sesame noodle recipe, and then maybe next week when this episode comes out, there's gonna be a yummy, Shy, you're not gonna like the way this sounds, avocado dressing.
I do not...
Alli won't put it on her
do
salad
not
anyways.
like avocados. I used to like them a lot, and then I stopped.
Oh my god, nobody cares. Seriously? You're talking slowly about your avocados.
Becky once made
I
me cookies
used to
shaped like
like-
Yoda, these beautiful green, delicious cookies. And they were so awesome and so cool looking. And then I bit them, and then she said, and they're sweetened with avocado. And I was like,
No,
"Ooh."
they're
It was like they had,
colored with
they had
avocado.
booger paste on them. And I've never been able to eat avocado since.
You try and you fail, but you try.
Let's keep on trying. Alli, do you want people to follow you based on this? Or just
I mean, I
fly
feel like
today?
I'm just gonna stay where I am. I'm good.
Alli's gonna
I
fly.
don't tweet that much.
Alli's
I
gonna
just didn't want to tell us where she works. She's
Yes.
like,
I know there's some people that come on and really do want to talk about, and we want to talk about everyone's lives and careers and things like that. But some people are like, please don't.
I just want to talk about
Did you want to
shows.
do the shout out to Pam? Becky was on her.
Oh yeah, and last
Yeah.
but not least, Beck, you did a crossover on to the Herspiration Happy Hour with the amazing Dr. Pam Gurley. Please give us a plug on that and tell us about that experience.
It was really cool. Pam was actually in the Bay Area, so she came over to my house and we got to do it in person. And unlike this podcast, we actually talked about, timely and important issues. So if you want to hear us chat about film industry, inclusion and diversity,
The Me Too movement.
movement, and definitely check it out. We had a really great conversation about it, and we also talk a bit about balancing work and life, and some tips for doing that. So it was a great experience, and thank you, Pam, for having me on.
And you can follow that amazing podcast. Their Twitter account is @HerspirationMag, and it's Herspiration is the company or the organization or the movement. It's the movement, Herspiration, the movement. You can follow that podcast by going to their Twitter account and following them.
And you can just subscribe via iTunes,
iTunes and all of the other podcast places. So definitely check that out. You can follow me @Pancake4Table on Twitter, on Instagram, on Vero, on Tumblr. You can...
Is that still a thing?
Tumblr? I joined it. I mean, not many things tumble at me, but I joined it. I feel like I joined it too late.
Yeah, I think a few years too late.
Vero, I've been on the ground floor, but I don't know if anybody else is actually using it. I mean, there's a couple of people I interact with. I enjoy it to make song and movie recommendations.
You should show me how to use it, because I really don't get it.
All right. Jinx. And play the theme music. That is by What Does It Eat? And we're actually dancing in person together right now. You can check us out on the web at FridayNightMoviePod.com. We got a cool new logo. I'm very excited about that.
Love you, logo.
Brady's pulling this thing on the table here. And the rest of the pancake stuff is at pancake4table.com. And I'm so glad we got to do this in person. I hope people enjoy it. Bye.
Bye. Love you.
Love you.
Always hanging up the phone. Love you. But in person, we don't really need to say I love you, but it's because we hang up.
I
and
would
we say
say
I love you.
That
No, I know, but it's like the automatic love you when you're hanging up.
Yeah. Well, in our family, it's like
no,
that.
I think it's a...
No.
I'm so
Oh,
bad
yeah,
at Twitter,
yeah, I think
Shy.
so.
Wait, I'm so bad at Twitter that... Hold on.
But you try.
I try.
Means a
That
lot.
I'm looking at this and I'm like, oh man, I liked my own tweet again. But it was yours, not mine.
Oh, you're getting better.
Oh, but you see that heart? I thought it was me liking my own business.
Lindsay gave us maybe the greatest GIF of all time. A dancing Shaquille O'Neal and a dancing cat.
But was this part of the same ad, or she combined those? Or is this a thing?
I don't
These
know.
two together.
We'll have to get to the bottom of that. You should
This
ask-
makes
I think
me
you should
so
ask her.
happy to look at
I
it.
gotta get home. I gotta get home.
What's that from?
It's from
It's from Say Anything.
Say Anything.
I
When they're at
gotta
the
get
big house
home.
party at the beginning, Barbara Streisand's son, who's an actor in that scene, he's like the only movie he's ever been in. He's like super wasted, and he's the last person at the party, and Lloyd Dobler can't leave until he gives every person their keys. Or puts them in a cab, and he's the last one, and he's super wasted, and he's just lying down going, I gotta
With
get
his head
home.
in the toilet, going, I gotta get home.
They can't say that to each other all the
I gotta
time.
get home.
That's like such one of our lines, eh? That nobody like knows. It's just ours.